Good morning, afternoon, evening to you. We know that the time zones are different, so we give you these greetings, hoping that it reaches you at the right time. Ernest, you're looking good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so we're back on the airwaves, this time around 5 on 5. And once again, we will welcome our very special guest who has flown all the way from Texas. What brings you to Columbus, Joybert?
Work, business. What takes me to every other
Come close to your
country?
microphone.
One takes me to every other country and city. Came to speak and to consult and to do the work I do. Yeah.
Okay. You've been sojourning in the United States of America for the past couple of months. It looks like there's no point when you even sit down and and take a respite.
I've been on and off, but so far so good. I have a lot of work to do within the Northern American side in the last couple of weeks. I've been between here and the Middle East mostly.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Okay, and you are presently in Columbus. You say work, consulting, sometimes you're speaking and all. So can we know specifically, because we actually see you in your soreness, as he often says. Yeah. For those of you who are not from Cameroon, he is completely dressed in his traditional regalia.
Very important.
Because he's proudly so. Am I right?
Yes.
All right. So you are here in Columbus, and we see you dressed like this. And earlier today on social media, I think I saw an image of you still dressed like this and addressing a crowd or a community or a team of people.
Yeah.
So can you tell us specifically what event it was that brought you here to Columbus and how it is that you became a speaker at this event?
Well, in the United States, they celebrate February as the Black History Month, looking at the contribution of the Black community in the American economy and as a whole. So there is this event called the Black History Festival, which is pioneered by Ghanaian people and the Ghanaian government per se, like the Ministry of Tourism in Ghana, and a couple of other people and institutions. So I was invited as an expert and keynote speaker, panelist, since I get to do a lot of work where I try to see how to influence the diaspora to invest back in Africa, and I provide a lot of consulting to African businesses. African Americans here to invest back at home. So I was invited to talk on a couple of issues like the trade and business relationship between the United States and the African continent, and also looking at how we can export the African culture to the United States. And that's why today we're looking at art and culture as a tool for advancing the African agenda. So I decided to dress like this to represent the culture and the arts that we're talking about. So so that's what brought me here to provide, also made a lot of people who are interested to invest back in Africa, since we have a platform or a structured model to show people the better way to invest back home. And so, because I've been advocating for the diaspora to not only send money back at home for family to eat, go beyond sending $100, $200, start sending $10,000 for investments and $20,000. So I've been having those discussions and meetings since I came here to Columbus.
Wow, that's a good one. Growing past just sending money down to Africa, sending 100, 200, whatever amount it is you're sending. That's a good one, because I think a lot of people do practice that, but do not know that there is another way they can actually do things. You see, I said it, my jotter is up on my pen. I'm ready to take notes.
She's good at that, taking notes all the time, which is very good. So Black History Festival 20 2023. So when I saw, when I saw the caption of this event, what caught my attention was Black history.
Yeah.
What does Black history mean to you? By the way, when we say Black history, what do we mean?
Well, it's talking about Africa basically, or the Black people. We cannot deny the fact that we have been called Black, and we are Black. There are some people who are purely Black. Some are Black with small dotted innovation like blessing.
So I'm a dotted innovation. Okay.
With extra touch of innovation in their Blackness. But Black talk about, who we are as a people, authenticity.
Yes.
Recognizing that, with especially from the American perspective,
yes,
where there was racism,
of course,
and not recognizing what you may call the white supremacists and all of that. So I think the Black History Month was created to recognize the excellence of
yes,
the African people, or anybody in the United States who is from the African perspective, and that's why when you look at this month, they celebrate the great Martin Luther's, they celebrate
the Mandelas,
Maya Angelou, and all these great people that contributed greatly as Black people to build America, because they started realizing that America was not just built by white people.
That's right. That's right.
So it's a whole month to just record. That's why I look at this month. They will profile top Black business people, top Black lawyers, top Black tech people. They would just try to create a platform where they can amplify and communicate and announce the Black people from across.
I love the word
areas.
amplify, because it tells us that yes, we do identify that the Black community has a lot to contribute, but now amplifying means we are like increasing the volume to that which they have been doing so far.
And a way of recognizing diversity, because we whether we like it or not, we are different.
Of course.
So
we are unique as well.
Yes, we are unique, and the world coming together, it's also very important that we should recognize the greatness from the different races and who we are, but of course, understanding that we are all humans.
Okay.
As somebody once said, we all bleed blood. Whether you're white or you're Black, we all bleed
and it's
blood.
red.
Yeah.
It's always red. It's never purple or green. If it's purple, you're an alien.
But I think that's a lesson which human beings have found very difficult to learn, because, like you said, blood is red, yet racism, tribalism, so
can imagine.
I think that's ignorance,
Yes, and that's why we're shedding light.
Yes, to me, anybody who is racist is ignorant. So.
I love that. All right, now when we talk about Black history, of course, just trying to lay a good foundation for our listeners and viewers out there. Black History Festival, you will find that someone will think just by the name itself, Black History, probably only Blacks are attending, or probably some people from a particular part of Africa are attending. So who is actually attending this festival?
Anybody who is interested about, Black, the Africans, let me say so. So everybody was basically invited from different diplomatic institutions, governments, and United States. I mean, it's happening in the city of Columbus. So the authorities are aware of it. So everybody was invited, and whoever is interested, to about Africa and the African people was definitely invited. Yeah.
All right. So the festival entered day 2 today.
Yeah.
So 2 days gone into the festival. What do you think have been some of the highlights? Like, what are those things which you've picked out? Like, those things which you can talk about.
Well, I think so far, looking at the 2 days, the program is achieving its objectives of being a common ground where Africans can meet up with Africans in the diaspora. You see, so there are many people that I'm not based here. I'm from Cameroon, so I came for the program because I want to meet other Africans in the diaspora, and there are tens of other people who came from Ghana and other countries to connect. So, and the connections have been happening already, and people have been talking about partnerships and collaboration. Yeah. And so it is already achieving the objective which it was created to just create that common platform, and most importantly, bring the experts who can share from their perspective what can be done to enhance the growth of the African continent and the economy as a whole. And that is why all the panelists and the keynote speakers have been sharing deep insights and practical models that they can recommend either to government, institutions, and individuals, families, to practice and to implement to see the change that they can see. So it's been great so far.
Yeah, that's really it's something to, I think, always do, not just a matter of a month.
Yeah.
Africans in the diaspora need to learn how to collaborate, network, and it's not just about Africans in the diaspora. We get to relate with each other regardless of where we are coming from.
Yeah,
like we earlier said, we all bleed blood, right? So discussions today revolved around the theme. Let me see. This is changing nature and changing narratives and creating impact through African history, art, and culture.
Exactly.
Now, it's also interesting that in the African history, there is the scar of colonialism. One thing that I think all of us know about.
Yeah.
Some parts of Africa still leave the painful effect of it. We had apartheid, and all of these has shaped the African community. Now, talking about you, who is also part of the African community, when you think about this, do you have a feeling of hate, anger, rage, or whatever? Does it come to you like that, or how do you perceive this aspect whenever we're talking about our history?
Or in other words, are you proud of African history when you think about apartheid and colonialism?
I am one of those who don't blame colonial masters for anything.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Even we are not counseling the fact that they came to Africa. No, they came, did their stuff, messed up, took guys of slavery. But looking at where we are as a people,
yes,
colonial masters don't leave France and UK and America to come and push us to think how we think.
Okay.
So if we as a people don't wake up, I know to some extent they still influence policies and all of that. But you see, you will never see a country where there are more leaders than citizens. And as long as there are more citizens than leaders, if citizens can grow and become more valuable, more powerful, more contributors, they will greatly change the narrative. I mean, there are I have worked with companies and spoken on events that are purely white. All they need is my knowledge, not really whether I'm black. They don't even care.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So it's because people get to blame, we are where we are because of colonial masters, all of that. Yeah, we know that they came and did all of those stuff, but where we are right now, how do you become better? How do you become more valuable, more important, more relevant, that they cannot ignore you, but instead try to collaborate with you? Because let me tell you something. I've been in the room where our fellow white people are having a discussion with fellow black leaders. And sometimes when I hear how weak that our leaders negotiate and drive business deals, I feel embarrassed. You see, and sometimes when they go behind, trust me, I believe they laugh. You understand? They laugh at us and all of that. But that fellow white businessman did not force a leader to come unprepared, or to come not thinking straight, or not having the right information and all of that. So I think one of the biggest things we need in Africa is for us to take self-responsibility and grow up to a place where the rest of the world can see us as business partners, not as people that need help.
Yes, and that's the perspective.
That's the problem. Yes, we are
those who always need help.
Exactly. But Africa can grow to that level where we can begin to exchange in the form of partnership.
And why not provide help to others?
Exactly. I mean, we have done that before.
Exactly.
Okay.
We have done that before. I mean, Nigeria provided help to Japan years ago, but now Japan is the third, I think, fourth largest economy in the world. Where's Nigeria to be found, right? So Cameroon provided support to the Middle East to Dubai and several years ago, but now Dubai can buy Cameroon over a couple of times and there will still be change, right?
Oh wow!
So the difference is the other people have grown, and we need to grow as a people. Our leaders need to grow as a people, and we should.
And that's like deliberate growth.
Yes,
they are not just sitting and expecting it to fall on their lap.
That is why
growth.
Asia and the Middle East are where they are today.
Wow.
They have taken their growth for themselves.
Yeah.
And they have made up their mind that they are going to become better, grow to become world powers and contribute and become relevant in the global marketplace.
Negotiating from a weaker position doesn't help matters at all. So Africans need to stand up, and why not provide help to others than just seeking help from others. His name is Joybert Javnyuy. He is a public speaker par excellence, intelligible young man with, he has a full bag, a full bag of, I don't know what to put in that bag, but his bag is really full, So I was looking at the theme for today's discussion. Let me come back to it. Changing narrative and creating impact through African history, art and culture. Art and culture caught my attention because that is my domain. And some years back, so many years ago, as a matter of fact, when I was attending a training in film criticism, so we were talking about soundtrack, in film, and so my trainer told us that the black race produces more than 90% of music, but only reaps less than 5% of benefits that come from music. This is just to say art and culture is an incarnation of the black race.
Yeah.
But the richest entertainers, the richest craftsmen, don't come from this community. So how do you negotiate that? That we are talented, we are seen as people who are art and culturally inclined, yet we're not up there in terms of the benefits.
Yeah. It goes back to black people or Africans being willing to understand their industry, understand what they're doing. And I think it's that I'm not surprised with the statistics, because somebody once said that Africans don't think long term. They think only about enjoyment and what they like. Somebody is signing a deal, all they focus about is the money you're going to give them and how they're going to live large, have the girls, have the drugs, and we are also the largest community that consume the alcohol and the drugs, right? So, and that's what we focus on a lot. And until we start rotating that mindset and being very business conscious, many white professionals will not sign a deal without making sure that the regulations, the agreements favor them totally, and they pay attention to details. There are many white people that will sign a deal without reading. Black people. They will sign an agreement without even reading thoroughly or even taking to their lawyer. There was a research that was done, and it was observed that black people don't use lawyers.
Okay.
Right. For example, how many job seekers let's say you're being given an employment and you take your employment agreement to your lawyer to review before you sign? Have you ever done that? Any of us here?
Never.
Right.
I read it myself.
Good. So and there are clauses in the law, in the legal terms that you will not really understand until the lawyer start breaking it down to you, and paying attention to understand, the whole process. One thing with us, the black people, is we depend a lot on talent. And that's why we have so many black people that were once rich and are now broke. And talent is not enough. You see, so we need to grow to that place where if you are a talented musician, it is your responsibility to know what are the legal binding agreements as far as music is concerned.
Yes.
What does it mean? What is the meaning of music rights? What's the meaning of writers' rights? What's the meaning of getting songs on Spotify and all these platforms, and how do you get paid and all of that? Making sure that they go through the right process with the diligence, with the details, with the right expert, and then be comfortable to do it.
But don't you think it's because we unfortunately find ourselves in an environment where the purchasing power is really, really, really low.
Now, one thing about music is that it can be very global. So we are now in a dispensation where, as long as you have access to the internet, you are not competing with your neighbor.
Okay.
If you have access to the internet right now in Bamenda, you are competing with a young man in Tokyo.
Right.
You are competing with a young lady in Berlin, Germany.
Yes.
So we need to go be, as somebody, I was reading a book and somebody said they teach American entrepreneurs to produce for the global market. But in Africa, we are taught to produce for our towns, for our communities, for our family members. That's why somebody will build Facebook here, and in less than no time is across Africa. Somebody will build whatever that we are using right now across the world, because they are taught from the beginning to build for the global market. Same as music, and it's very important for us to tap. But I want to emphasize that I think it's the knowledge gap, the awareness gap. And of course, not paying the price to do things process-wise. Let me use that word. Going through the right process to get it done the right way. And of course, if you're in business, if you notice that the market where you are cannot pay for your services, find a market that can pay for your services. There's nothing wrong if you do a market research and you have not asked the question if your target market has the income level to pay for your product, your market research is not complete.
Okay.
So when you know that, you can decide to change your market and find the right people who can pay for it.
Pay for these services.
And it's your job to upgrade that. If you notice that your songs cannot be purchased by Cameroonians or Nigerians, and you want to make the money, why not produce an American market if you can? You're a businessman.
I love this
it's
angle.
Show business.
I love the angle with which we're going to, because this tells us that the art and culture aspect of our community, the African community, can actually be a vector for development.
Yeah, it is.
So if it is not at this point, now if you go back to the African community, unfortunately I experienced or observed a certain trend going on the internet, on social media, where we're talking about the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
And you find a lot of thoughts coming in, people literally fighting themselves. Why do we have, let's talk about Cameroon. Why do we have only Nigerians coming in? We have events, and then you have a Nigerian artist and all of that. And I remember someone had asked me, what do I think about it? And the only thing I could say was, if you produce something that is worth consuming globally, you will not need to even fight the stage with anybody.
Yeah.
So now, if we look at arts and culture to be a vector of development, if it's not the case already in Africa, how do you think this can come about?
Well, I think Nigeria has proven the model that art and culture can produce, a lot of employment and bring a lot of money into the country. South Africa has done that. Even Cameroon have been able to do that to their own level, to their own extent.
Yes.
Ghana and other countries are rising. You see, but more work needs to be done from the government perspective and from individual perspective, from consumers, local consumers here and there. So with the 80-20 rule and all of these things, many countries have their rules that can promote the consumption of local stuff. Some countries have 40-60, some have 70-30, but it all depends on when the government leaders can sit with the key players in the industry and come up with something that can be implemented. So it is important to do that actually, because it is the responsibility of every government to actually play a part to encourage that the citizens should buy and consume products and services from the local companies.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if that is not done, people will consistently buy, from foreign companies with a mindset. So, and we have to protect our companies. And secondly, so I always say it's a two-way thing. Let the government do their job, right? Let the Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Art and Culture, let them do their job to protect and support the entertainment industry. Secondly, let the players, if you call yourself an artist, be a professional, do good music, package it well,
That's right.
distribute it well, and people are going to consume. If one part is available and the other is not there, people are going to struggle.
If one part is available and the other part is not there, people are definitely going to struggle. Joybert is his name. Special guest on the show today. We are live from Columbus, Ohio, in the United States of America. This is Apex Snapshots, the edition of the 16th of February 2023. Is hosted here in the studio by Blessing
And that's Kanjo.
Right. So let me go back to the theme of today's discussion at the festival you are attending, Joybert, and let us look at changing narrative. You know, changing narrative, I've heard this over and over and over. It looks like every day we are changing narrative.
narratives.
So at the end of the day,
What's
the change is not happening
Exactly.
because we
What's the
keep changing.
narrative?
So, so by changing that narrative, what do we mean here?
I think the main discussion today around that topic was how the West as a whole see Africa, especially Americans who have never been to Africa.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, how they see Africa. You know, there are many Americans who believe that Africa is a jungle. There are Americans who see
Africa is actually a country to hold that. They
exactly.
don't
Some
even
believe
know
Africa-
that
Yeah,
it's a continent.
somebody will see me and then begin to ask, like, oh, do I know this person calling a Nigerian name?
Yes.
It's as if we're in the same quarter, right? Before you start telling them that, hey, look, these are countries with millions of people.
Right.
And this continent called Africa, you start telling that Africa according to landmass, Europe can fit in Africa.
Yes.
The whole of US can fit in Africa, and there will still be change. So
I love that aspect. They'll still be changed. They'll be
right.
balanced.
So that's the narrative we need to change.
Right.
And secondly, you know, the stories that come out from Africa. You see, many people that, you know, I'm sure some people have experienced that when they see you that maybe you can speak good English or you're good at your field, they're like, which school did you study in the US?
Yes.
Right? There are good schools in Africa.
Yes.
Right? So this narrative that, you know, people have, and there are some people believe that Africa is full of wars and civil unrest and all of that. Right? So these wrong perceptions and opinions need to be corrected. And the right structures, the right platform, and the right people need to start telling the story.
Yes.
And the most important thing is putting Africa at the platform where Africa can tell its story.
My worry, right? My worry, and I hope you will bear with me. My worry is that we are in 2023, right? When digital communication is at its peak, right? Information is like 1 second away from you. So why should this narrative still be,
The case.
be the
today.
case?
Yeah.
Because it takes just 1 second to read about Africa.
Until something is important to you, will not look for it.
Okay.
That's why I said on my address that the narrative of the question was, if the narrative of Africa is wrong, do I agree or do I disagree? I said no, they are both. And I said anybody who has any narrative you have about Africa all depends on your intentions,
Okay.
why you want to know it, and the kind of information you have about Africa. Right? If you talk to me, I have had the privilege to be in 20 African countries. I'll tell you the most beautiful continent ever in the world, based on the information I have, and based on why I'm saying that, because I'm African, because I love Africa, and of course my intentions. So, and if people are, it's the same like even in any industry. There are people who maybe are claim to be professionals in different industries, but they don't have the best knowledge about their own profession because they have not paid the price. I mean, it takes a price to study, to do research, right? So I think it's just that gap that people have not taken it serious upon them to research and to find out more about Africa and why it is a very important continent across the world. So I think that's why it exists. The day it's important, you know, that they'll go and
You
research.
go for it. That's right. The day you
Yeah.
find the importance, you definitely go for it.
Yeah.
It's like I say, create value, and then you find money coming for you.
Exactly.
All right then. So talking about this particular festival, Black History Festival, when does it wrap up here in Columbus?
Saturday, wrap up on Saturday the 18th.
Oh, Saturday the 18th. So it
Yeah.
means we barely have two more days to go.
Tomorrow, after tomorrow, we're good to go.
We're good to go. All right then, and I'm sure people who were not part of it now are like, "Whoops, why did I not know about this?" But of course, keep your eyes and ears peeled so that you can definitely get more
Yeah,
information.
it happens every year.
Yes.
So last year was in DC, Washington DC. This year was in Ohio. Maybe by Saturday we should know the next city in the US
Yeah.
that will be hosting the Black History Festival.
The Black History Festival that ran off tomorrow here in Columbus, Ohio, and one of the guest speakers at that great event is our guest on the show today. Joybert is not new on this platform, but he's visiting the studio for the very first time, thanks to this visit to Columbus. So earlier you announced that your next stop will be Maryland, and you will be telling people how they can grow in business. Tell us more about that event.
He's always telling people how they can grow, not just telling them, but giving them strategies on how they can grow.
Yeah, well, it's an event put together by Siri Fonjong and the ARC NPS by Dr. Lily Mbinglo, and their aim is to provide a platform where they can teach people in the community who are interested to start and run successful businesses on how they can understand different elements that makes up a good and successful business in the United States. So it's open up to anybody who is available, maybe around the DMV area, or you can fly in from another city or state. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So I'll be leading a session on business growth drivers. One thing I have expertise in is how to expand and grow a business and make more money. So if you're in business, you should be able to make more money, and you don't hope and make money. In business, hope is not a strategy. In business, it's all about what do you know and how can you do it to make it successful. So that's what it's all about. It will be about, it's a kind of a twin event, because there will be the first part fully about business, then the second part about starting a non-profit. So it's for people that maybe they have a heart for the community and they want to do it in a more formal, structured way, register their non-profit and run it in a way they can also get grants maybe from the government and individuals and other NGOs and successfully do it.
Yes.
Meantime, his book is titled 40 Business Models and Examples, Practical Ways Different Businesses Make Money Across Africa. You may want to procure that document and read it. Looks like we have a caller who says he has a question for you. He's been following the show since the start of it, and he joins us at exactly 25 minutes to 8. Welcome to the show, Stephen.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Enes, for letting me be part of this great discussion. Thank you very much.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right. So we're talking to a young and dynamic entrepreneur with scores of skills, to his credit. He's here with us live in the studio. You've been following the show. Any observations? Any questions?
Yeah, the observation I actually had, it's I've heard more of if or we. I've not heard of something that have actually happened because of what he actually did. So I was like, if we do like this, if the government. So I think if we want to make people to understand our vision, is out of what we have done. So the first question I want to ask is about Africa. I just have two questions. The first one is about Africa. How can you convince somebody that have stayed here for like 20 years, 30 years to go back and invest in Africa, for which when he checks on the internet, you see that Africa have had over 200 coup d'etats? What's the guarantee of such a person?
Okay, so do you want me to answer the question before you take on the next question?
Yeah.
Okay. Joybert.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. And yes, that's a very important question. And one thing about reading the news and the internet is that you will feel as if nothing else is happening. right? And sometimes when I hear things like that, I ask you, like in Cameroon, I'll ask you, how do you think that the 25 million people are doing and running businesses? I live in Africa, I do work in Africa, I've provided consulting to hundreds of companies across the African continent, and they are doing well. I've provided help people from the diaspora to invest back in Africa, and even foreigners to invest back in Africa. Yes, those things exist, and same like every other country, that have challenges politically or whatever means. But the private sector still exists. Business still operate. People still feed. People still move. Money still move. Goods still move, and services still move. So it's all about when you are on ground, you know what to do, and you can effectively do it. So, and it doesn't mean that when this coup exists, there's no peace, right? There was a coup in Chad, for example, but Chad is going on very well. Whoever took over, we're not getting of any infightings again. So it's for you to just do your due diligence, decide which country you want to invest. If you can travel there, good. You can travel there. You can get a research firm to do the research for you and give you their thoughts. Let them do it, because trust me, every research firm, no matter the country, when they do their research, they will always give you the threats that exist, and of course give you the recommendation on how to avoid those threats. Personally, for me, there is no country on earth that doesn't have potential threats on business. All these countries, they do have, but it's also your job as a business person to figure out how to maneuver these threats and of course successfully establish. Again, just to say, companies are still investing in Africa. Venture capitalists, if you are somebody who tracks venture capitalism, you will notice that in the last 4 years, investors, angel investors, venture capitalists have only tripled year after year into the African continent. So despite the costs and despite the challenges, these things are still happening. Again, what you see on the news is different from what is on ground.
All right.
Okay.
Beautiful response there. Steve, question number 2.
Yeah, but I will say a little bit about number 1. I think we are talking about individual, not talking about institutions. Institutions will normally invest in Africa since they use the political powers which controls everything. They will have their security of their assets. So, okay. The second question I want to ask is, with all your competence and your research, your experience, what have you done as a person, or do you have an organization that's actually doing what you are saying?
Okay, he wants to know about your own contribution.
Okay. Yes. Personally, for me, I presently have 4 businesses that operate in different areas, from education to finance to a tech company and all of that. But my first love is not to be an entrepreneur. My first love is training and consulting. So I always say something funny, that the only reason I run companies is to prove to people that what I teach and what I talk about works. Yes, so if it's impact, yes, I've done impact. I've helped hundreds of thousands of dollars and a couple of millions to come to Africa for investments. I run my own business. I am successful as a business young man, and of course I am not stopping. So I don't teach from theory. I teach from what I do, what I've built, and of course what we're looking at achieving. But generally, again, as I said, my first purpose is to use the knowledge and the experience to bridge that gap, to provide the support that people need. I have spent almost all my life to study business, and to do business as much as I can. And I think that more people want to get into business and they don't have the time. They don't have all the they've not started business all their lives. Maybe like some of us started doing business when I was in secondary school, and I've done it to a doctorate degree level. So apart from that, the theory part is needed, the papers are needed, the books are needed, and of course it's being merged with practical by running my own businesses. I have 3 failed companies which have lost millions in building those companies. So I know what it means to fail in starting a company and failing, and I know what it means to make a couple of millions from running a company.
Steve,
Yeah, I think it's good. But what I was expecting was like maybe a business school or something that you have a
Exactly.
training
Steve,
program that's going on.
probably
Anyway, it's good.
you are
Okay.
asking this because we didn't mention earlier some of the works of Dr. Joybert. But I think this is because prior to now we had an edition where this is a follow up for of. But there is Cell BMD.
Yes. So basically, at the moment, we have two training institutions. There is the Center for Entrepreneurship, Leadership, and Business Management Development Africa that I founded in 2012. And we have done work in 27 African countries in providing real, practical, structured, where we have spent years to design business programs that fit the African marketplace, and we have helped several entrepreneurs to do that. Then we have Peak Performance University, which is taking it to a higher level to provide a more higher level of education with specialization in business and, of course, technology.
Okay, cool.
All right, Steve, you have another opportunity to ask him more questions because I can promise we'll bring him back on this platform. we can't let him go with just three shows. He has so much to offer.
I would recommend that for Peak Performance University, Steve can look that up.
Yes, just type Peak Performance University on Google. You'll see it come out, or ppuniversity.com.
Yes, you definitely get all the information you need from there, and there are quite a lot of trainings online, and I think offline as well, which you can register for, enroll for, and you would have the best information and knowledge that you seek, especially if you intend to invest in Africa.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
And have a fantastic rest of the day.
Okay, that was a good one.
Right, sure.
We had a hot seat here. Thank you so much for engaging and for talking to our guest. Thank you very much, Dr. Joybert, for obliging to respond to the questions that came in. And indeed to all of our viewers and listeners who are out there and seeking to know more about Dr. Javnyuy Joybert's works and the success stories, I would recommend that you follow him on social media, because I was about to come to your Facebook wall just about now. The question I have has to do with your Facebook page.
Okay.
You know,
Very active wall.
Very active. He can be very hilarious and serious at the same time. You know, there are moments he will ask questions and I'm like, where do these thoughts come from?
And for one thing, I don't take his post for granted at all, because every single post he does has something,
Yes, something unique. Even if he has some kind of fun in it, he has something to learn from. So talking about your Facebook page, earlier today, you did mention something about, especially in the African context, I think. You mentioned about people paying for your product or services for the first time under the misguided notion that it's PT. Let me help you. Let me put that in your words. Let me support and encourage what you are trying to do.
Yeah.
So they give the payment as a form of PT. Let me empathize with you.
Exactly.
All right. So you seem to frown a lot at this particular ongoing performance of Cameroonians and Africans in general. Can you talk a little about that?
Yeah, we live in Africa is a very community-centric environment where when you start anything, everybody will just know, in your community, of course, friends, family, church members, they will just know that you have started something. And many people buy because of their relationship or because you have started something, not because they really need the value to a certain extent. So I always advise business people that if you launch a new product, you launch a new business, if only your friends and family members have bought, don't take it as a market idea validation. Let somebody who is a stranger buy the product because the product is solving their pain point. Now you have a business. Because I've heard the statement many times. Like, I mean, there was a time we had a problem with somebody who he came to buy my book, and like, let me buy this book to encourage what you do. I actually refused to sell to the person. And I said, no, don't buy it again. I don't need your encouragement. No, buy the book because you need the value in the book, not because you want to encourage me, right? I know it's good to encourage, right? You can encourage with your mouth. Oh, well done, good book, keep on writing. Yes, that's encouragement. But I feel insulted if you come tell me that you want to give me money because you just want to encourage me. It doesn't validate that you need the book. But especially in a startup, if you are really a startup, please. Yes, if your family and friends can buy it, that is good. But please take it outside your comfort zone. That is when you truly can validate that business idea will go places. That's why there are many startups that when they start, after friends and family have bought, the market starts declining.
Yes.
The sales start dropping.
Takes
Hey,
dive.
what happened? When I launched 3 days ago, people bought. But now sales are no longer coming in. The difference is that the people that bought, they bought out of pity, out of encouragement, out of, let us support him and see how far it goes, right? That one is good, but it's not enough to bank on your idea. You need to take it a step further, sell it outside your community, move to another area, do massive marketing, media, social media, whatever that you can use. And if strangers start buying without any relationship, then you have a good idea.
Yes.
You can start investing and taking it a step further.
But this is kind of very contrary to events like book signing, book launches, movie premieres. So are you against such events? Because definitely people come to those events
for the events is for support.
To support.
Yes. No. Now, are people coming to be entertained or to support you?
For
now,
book launch.
good. After they support you, what next? Let's imagine you have printed 50,000 books. Let's assume that you are so popular and you have a very large family and you have 1,000 people come and support you.
Okay.
After that, what do you do with 49,000 books?
Wow.
Right? So I'm looking at beyond family and friends. That's why I always encourage entrepreneurs. Like, for example, when I'm doing consulting for a startup, one of my conditions I have is that you must bring a survey filled by at least 250 people. Because that way, we are going to read survey information beyond your family and friends. We're going to have data that goes beyond your comfort zone, because that's really what we need. Because you are not selling to your family people. You are selling to a larger market. So it's more important for you to validate that people would buy this idea because of the pain points that you are solving, not because they like you or not because you are family friends. That's what I'm talking about. Again, I'm recognizing the support of family and friends is important.
Right.
But it's not enough for you to start being excited or jumping around and have a business. You have a very good business when people beyond
your circle, your immediate circle.
The power of somebody seeing your product without ever knowing you and buying is very powerful.
Yeah.
That's true.
And when that starts happening to you, then you actually have a business. You actually have some data to prove that, hey, I think if I invest in marketing, I'll be able to get more money and, of course, succeed in this business. That's the whole concept of that. But I'm not saying that you should not be grateful for your family and friends. But if you are a real entrepreneur, like me personally, if I launch a book and friends and family buys, in my heart, it's good, but I have my target number. If that number doesn't pass, I have not made sales. I don't care how many friends. I don't care how many friends buy. How many family? There's a number that I need to get, right? So which is important. And now it now contributes to what you may call reinvestment.
Okay.
Because you cannot reinvest in an idea that only family and friends have bought. You're actually going to lose your heart and your kidney, right? Because you invest and people will not buy. Right? Because on the family and friends bought. I've seen it happen many times. Somebody when I launched this product a few months ago or a few weeks ago, the sales were good. I now asked one gentleman, go and check who bought it.
Who were the people who bought it?
That one, he now realized that that's why if you launch a product and only people on your WhatsApp status buy, it's too early to be excited.
Cameroon was a problem.
Because anybody who has your number knows you.
Exactly.
So you need to go beyond the people that know you and let a stranger buy because, I think I need this product to solve this problem in my life. That's the concept. And that's where you get to have a bankable business and a profitable business.
You can only get a profitable and bankable business if your market goes beyond just your closer circle or your family. Well, Joybert is his name. Guests on the show today. He's live here in the studio of Apex One Radio. Since you've been mentioning value, and there's been a lot of talk about value these days. I have this question. Now, everyone wants to produce value. At the end of the day, everybody will be producing value, just like everybody has become a content creator these days, right? So now, how would you distinguish yourself so that a buyer buys from you and not from the other person who also has value with his product like you do?
Yeah. Value is not created by one thing. Value is a combination of several things. So your ability to master the core elements that create the best value in your industry will make you stand out. Okay. So there are some people that create value only from their talent, but it's not enough. And there are some people that create value only from packaging. They package nonsense.
Okay.
This is still value, but it's packaged, but it's not quality value.
Okay.
There are some people that create excellent value with poor packaging, and people don't buy. So you see, there are different elements that make up value. So if you are going to really make money from value that you are creating in your industry, understand what are the top elements that you need to master to actually create value that somebody cannot ignore, right? For example, let's go to the mobile phone industry. There is Apple and there's the rest of mobile phone industries.
Right. The rest.
Right? The rest are trying to compete. Samsung, Motorola, Techno, whatever you can think about. Pixel, Google, and all of that. But one thing that Apple is good at is Apple understands all the core elements that they need to create for you to enjoy and value the value of their mobile phones. So Apple goes from design to efficiency to quality to packaging to delivery to if you look at the whole Apple system, you see that they go through a whole process to do that.
Come out with
and when you identify all of those core elements, make sure you are the best in all of the core elements. Because if one suffers, the rest are going to struggle. Wow. And you know that customers look for different things. And it's your job to make sure that whatever you present to the customer is as complete as possible, right? So sometimes just having a complete mastery of the various elements, your value chain, can just be a total that significant factor that makes you different from your competitors. Others. Yes.
If you are just tuning in, you are onto Apex Snapshot, and the guest on board is none other than Dr. Javnyuy Joybert, and I have my very amazing NS Kanjo here with me piloting this particular ship. So let's come back to you, Dr. Joybert. In business or whatever thing we find ourselves doing, we always seek to work with partners. We always seek to have people that we can network with, that will come together and help us with our value, or no, rather add their value to us, just as we are also adding value to theirs. Yeah. So still on this, you have this conviction, and I think you earlier mentioned something recently. I love to read it so that I don't take it out of context. You said something about picking business partners with high intelligence, energy, and integrity. Now, if we look at these people with high intelligence, energy, and integrity, would you insist on still having them as partners if they don't yield some good financial benefits, though they have all these other qualities?
I am still seeing anybody who can have all those qualities and cannot make money.
Okay.
There's nobody, and from my experience though, there's nobody who can have high intelligence, have the energy, and have the integrity who cannot make money. I always say something funny. If you claim that you have sense, make money.
If your sense is not bringing money, it's not sense.
Proof of wisdom and proof of knowledge is two things: impact and money.
Okay.
Oh wow.
So if you have built your mental intelligence, academic intelligence, or whatever that you do, and the intelligence that you think that you have is not creating impact for other people and making money for yourself, and of course contributing to the industry economically, then something is wrong with your intelligence.
That means there must be mutual profitability.
Good. So I always say that because especially the energy, right? I have helped many people sign up co-founder agreements and partnership agreements. And I have seen agreements struggle because one partner will come to me and say, Joybert, look, this man is not very committed as I am, right? It's the same like in a love relationship. Imagine you text somebody in the morning, afternoon, evening to check on them, and they never text about you. How will you feel?
Elohim. You
Right?
definitely don't feel okay.
Exactly. So the energy is not reciprocal. Like, for example, the energy involves hard work, work ethics, and all of that.
Yes.
Like, for example, I can be in the office till 11 p.m. And if we are partners, I need to see you putting the same, right? So the energy must be there. And of course, integrity. There is no partnership that will stand without integrity.
If I'm looking at this right, it means the energy has to match.
It has to match.
The intellectual
Or
capacity.
if it doesn't match, it should be clearly stated in the agreement that, okay, look, me, I am
giving
bringing just the money.
60%. Okay.
But the hard work is your job. It's very clear. But don't agree that we are all co-founders and we are all in the operations, and then I'm coming to work every day at 7 a.m. and then you come at 9 a.m. and give all the excuses. It's going to cause problems.
Definitely.
Right? Yeah.
Definitely.
Joybert is also author of business books, including 40 business models and examples, practical ways different businesses make money across Africa, and the Business Idea Handbook, finding business ideas in unexpected places. All right. His guest in today's edition of the show as well. We are live with him here in the studio. So earlier you also said that being courageous doesn't mean you will not be afraid.
Yeah.
So when I read that, I got a little bit confused. So let's take, for example, somebody stakes $100,000 in a business that is not lucrative. That is some courage he mustered. So how can you?
That's not
you
courage.
negotiate?
That's stupidity.
No, okay. He calls it stupidity.
Because courage in business means you do your due diligence, you do your research.
Okay.
Research
You
must
have
be done.
all the proofs that this idea can be profitable, but yet there will still be fear. There's nobody on earth that will remove no amount, especially if they are life savings. Trust me. No matter how, like you consult the top 10 consultants in the world.
Yes.
When it comes to removing money for that idea, trust me, there'll be fear.
Yes.
But that is when now courage comes in, when you do it afraid. Courage is when you do it afraid, right?
Okay.
But you have done your due diligence. You have done your work. You have made sure that you have covered all the things, and you are certain that it's a good idea. But that fear will still be there, right? It's the same like, I am sure anything they want to do, trust me, there will always be that little kind of fear, especially anything that will need to shift you to the next level in your life, right? There will always be some form of fear. You are single, you want to get married. Trust me, fear will come in one point.
That's right.
If you are married and then a baby, somebody says that she is pregnant, small fear must come out, right? So as anything that changes levels in life always cause fear. But courage now is when you do it afraid.
Okay.
But if you do it with stupidity, it's not courage. So you need to do your part. In business, do your part. Don't go resign from a job that I am courageous, I want to start a business. Who told you that's how to resign from a job?
Wow.
Right? So you need, if you are, before you resign from a job, maybe you can start a side hustle.
Yes.
Do it gradually, and maybe you get to a level where your side business can pay a house rent and feeding every month. you can now decide to resign. But you see that day that you're going to drop your application, there'll be fear.
You still have fear.
There'll be fear to resign, but you still resign anyway. That is courage, right? So courage means that you are afraid, but you still do it.
Courage means you are afraid, but you still do it. So you say, do it afraid.
Do it afraid, yes.
Still do it. Now, when we talk about fear, this is something that I believe starts with the mind.
Exactly. Fear is emotional.
Yes, it plagues the mind, and it's one of the reasons, or one of the
And to
main
me, fear
reasons.
is a blessing. Not you, though.
Oh, okay. Fear is not a me, but it's a blessing. Thank you.
Because many people see fear as a curse. Fear to me, anytime I'm afraid of anything, I think of gaps.
Yeah.
I think of what I have not sorted out.
Okay.
Notice from today, anytime you're afraid of anything, look for gaps in what you want to do.
Anytime you're afraid
Of anything,
look
look
for
for
gaps.
gaps.
in
Yes.
that-
And
in
fill
the
the
thing
gaps.
you want
Yes,
to
fill
do.
the gaps.
Okay.
For example, if you see anybody afraid of public speaking, there are a couple of
Yes.
things involved. Either they have not prepared well,
Yeah.
or either they have not been practicing, or either there's
Or they don't
always
have the
something
content
wrong.
to
Yes.
deliver.
Because fear is a product of something. It doesn't just appear overnight.
Right.
It comes from somewhere. So find that gap and begin to feel it. For example, you want to start a business and you are afraid that you will lose your money. Okay, why do you think you will lose
You
your
lose
money?
your money. That's the gap.
Yes, why do you think? Now make sure you sort out that why before you move ahead. So fear is a blessing because it opens your mind to gaps, to challenges, and can help you to build a plan B to do it better.
Wow. I love the fact that this is coming up now, because there are lots of people who've been held back a whole lot in whatever they have to do because of fear.
Exactly.
The fact that I'm afraid of this, afraid of that.
Yeah.
And it comes with what ifs.
Exactly.
What if I
yes.
do not make it?
But also, what if you can make it?
Exactly. What if you can make it?
Yeah.
So this brings us back to what I was saying earlier, what the mind can do.
Yeah.
The mind can keep you on one spot. Same with that mind, if addressed, can take you to another level, whole new level.
Exactly.
So if we look at the mind, like I earlier said, it can be your greatest asset.
Yeah.
The same way it can be
Can destroy
your
you.
worst
Yeah.
enemy. So if we are looking at this, how does one cultivate the right mindset?
Mindset is driven by information, what you consume. If you consume the wrong things, that is where your mindset will go. But if you build your mindset over time, right? The Bible talks about sound mind. And sound mind is a product of sound information. I always say that whatever is in your bank account right now directly corresponds to the quality of your mindset.
Wow.
Wait a minute. Could you take that again? You know, I always take notes.
Whatever is in your bank account directly corresponds to the quality of your mindset.
Lord
Because
have mercy.
everything stems from your mindset. The amount of value that you can create goes back to the kind of mindset that you have. And if you want to build the right mindset that can build the right value or create the right value,
Yeah.
pay the price to feed I like to call it mental intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Feed your mind with the right content. That's why people buy books, they read books, they attend coachings, trainings, and all of that, so they can build the right mindset and become so valuable that people cannot ignore them. Right. Another thing that greatly influence how much money you make is the relationships that you have. I always say that if you serve peasants, they'll pay you peasant fee. If you serve royalty, they'll pay you royalty fee. And do you know that the quality of your relationships is determined by the quality of your mindset? Because how you talk, there's something I call intelligent conversations. The quality of your intelligent conversation stems from your mindset, because your mouth can only speak what your mind contains.
Yes. Out
Right?
of the abundance
Good.
of the heart, the mouth speaks.
And therefore, it is difficult for you to establish quality, life-changing relationships with poor conversational intelligence. And it's difficult to have the right conversational intelligence with the poor mindset. So, you can never make money beyond the quality of your mindset, because from there, every other thing begins to come out. You see? So, for example, I can get paid maybe to speak in bigger, better events, because if the places I get to go because of the things I say qualifies me to meet more relevant people, more powerful people, more people with heavy bank accounts, right? And then they get to pay for my services. But if my mindset is weak and my conversation is weak, I would definitely be in the lower echelon of the society, right? One of the best ways to build influence is to build your mindset, which in turn affects your conversational intelligence, which now positions you where the right people desire to connect with you.
That's right.
And until people begin to understand this, mindset is beyond positive thinking. It's beyond thinking right. Yes, it's part of it, but it's way powerful than that. It is about when you open your mouth to talk, what comes out from your mouth in your industry. As a professional
that adds value in that industry.
Exactly. So you want to change your life, start feeding your mind with some sound quality information.
Garbage in, garbage out. So if you have the right thing coming in, you have the right thing going
exactly
out.
And I saw how she was busy taking down notes.
Oh yes, please, I do. I love when he said, if you serve peasants, you would be paid peasant fee, and if you serve royalty, you will be paid royalty fee.
And he also said whatever is in your bank account directly corresponds to your mindset.
Quality of your mind.
Wow. So now people who have huge bank accounts, it means their
will
mind
be feeling like, wow, my mindset. But that's actually true.
Yeah, go and check. You find out.
Because how did they come up with the strategies to be able to have that heavy bank account in an economy that people say is struggling?
Yeah.
Right. And some people will say that more money, simpler life. He said that as well.
Yes, more money makes life easy.
But again, somebody said that money is the root of evil.
Yes.
So how do
well,
you
it's not, so nobody said that is the misinterpretation of the Bible that somebody used that. But money is not the root of all evil. Money just reveals your true personality, right? So if you are a wicked person, there are people who are humble because of poverty.
Exactly.
Immediately they make the money, you see their real character. Yes.
The arrogant person will pop out.
There are men who are, how do I call it now? There are men who are loyal now to their wives because they are broke to finance their infidelity. The day they have money to pay,
they are broke to finance their
infidelity. So if the day they're able to pay for a good hotel and get a girl and pay her
whatever they can
Uber,
pay,
buy her a car, whatever, you will see the real man coming out.
The arrogance will pop out.
The real, you want to see the real human being, check when they're doing fine.
Wow.
That's when you see the real values, the real character, the real attitude. Of course, there are people who are trying to rise and they have become good in their character and attitude, but money is not the root of all evil. Money makes life beautiful.
Money makes life beautiful, but if you are blessed with money, make sure you're using it positively, because there are people who use money for evil purposes as well.
The wrong way. Yeah. I'm talking about all of this, and I'm sure the viewers and listeners out there have gotten a load of knowledge today, just like I have, because I've been writing and writing. I'm sure the viewers are like, what does this girl keep writing?
As a matter of fact, Blessing and Ernest were in class again.
Exactly. We're always in class when Dr. Joybert is here.
Whenever he comes to this platform, we become students.
Thank you, because he's our professor right now.
Sure.
All right, then, talking about this amazing professor, Mr. Remarkable. Most times you're dishing out all the knowledge and strategies to help people in self-development, in business growth, in all of that. But let's just digress a little as we are exiting the set today. Joybert always loves putting on black. We would hardly see a photo with Joybert put it on. I don't know what other colors I'll talk about. If you look right now, if you're keen, you'll notice it still has black. So, Joybert, what inspired black? Why are you always in black?
Easy decision making. I don't think about what to wear. So I have all black shirts, black ties, So
He's the black guy.
yes, I don't.
Man in black.
I don't want to struggle on what to wear in the morning, so just pick it and wear, and I'm good to
So
go.
I think we should find out from you.
I am one of those people who is the same thing. It's a notion that I think somebody that propagated it so much was Steve Jobs of Apple,
Okay.
and then Mark Zuckerberg, where they get to wear they buy the same dresses, so that they minimize decision making for minimal things, so they can focus on major, because decision making takes a lot of energy and your mind. So when I wake up in the morning, my mind goes straight to work. So I don't want to move my mind from thinking of, oh, what will I wear today? I can be dressing and I'm thinking of a whole business strategy in my head. Wow. So I don't want, I minimize distortion as much as possible in my daily living. So that's why I don't like, if you want to see me mad, tell me you're coming at 4, and then they don't come at 4. It begins to distort
the brain,
my mindset. So I like to minimize frequent decision making on little things negatively affects how you make proper decision, because your mind is too busy and redirected to unnecessary areas.
You see, we tried to make it on a light mode and he still went on to serious mode. Like, it's literally almost impossible to get to navigate him outside seriousness. So, fun fact, what does Joybert fear the most?
Cold.
So what is your own gap? Remember, he said when you have fear, you need to check the gap. So what's the gap?
So before I'm leaving, wherever I'm going, I begin to calculate, will I be exposed to cold?
What if it gets cold?
Yeah, so if I will be exposed to cold, I will need to get all my gear ready.
And I can say
that's why I don't like surprises.
I can say with my full chest, he doesn't like anything that has to do with cold.
You have traveled 20 countries in Africa and many other countries across the world. And we're talking about communication and languages. So when you travel to some of these strange countries, how do you communicate? Or otherwise, how many languages do you speak?
There are translators. I speak on my English, except I made my countryman. So,
and so
yes, I made my man. Then we can speak. So apart from that, I speak just English. So, but you know, the world technology. I have apps in my phone that if you speak in Chinese, they will read out to me in English. So just have the right tools, and makes it easier for you to communicate.
He does pidgin English.
Yes, pidgin. Yeah, if I go to Nigeria, I speak my pidgin English.
So you're multilingual.
I go to where again? I went to Liberia. They also speak pidgin English on the streets. Yeah, so. Yeah, so apart from that is translate. Most events they hire translators when I'm speaking, so it makes it easier too. So I don't think it's a challenge, and that's why translators are. Please don't go and read translation again in school. So we'll not need you again. So
yeah, we have to really look into that. For anyone who's tuning in now, they could be like, what's happening on set? It's like, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. That's because we've had a lot of knowledge and seriousness to last us the whole week. And we decided to just break it down and smile a little and not be too serious.
But I think we'll definitely come back to part 3. You know, part 1 was the man and his projects.
His projects.
Part 2 was, of course, today, the man and his philosophies.
Yeah.
Looks like we've not been tapped.
No, we haven't.
We've not been started. So we'll probably come back to part 3 and continue this discussion. But tell me about that day when you spoke to an audience. After that session, somebody walked up to you and was amazed, like, said things to you, like, just tell me how you attracted somebody in one of these your public speaking sessions.
Yeah, it has happened many times. I mean, even today, a king reached out to. He was in the audience and he reached out to me and.
Did you say a king?
Gave me his contact to reach out to him because of the things I said, that he feels that he needs it in the community for his people. Yeah, I've had the privilege to be leading a session. I mean, one of my biggest highlights last year was when I was training in Ghana, and the vice president of Microsoft walked into the room and listened to my session for a few minutes, and he was blown away, and he said some of the things I was teaching There are the things that they do in their company, in Microsoft here in the US. So a couple of those things have happened, and it's always a privilege to be in that position where you can influence also and send a message, to the government leaders, especially in Africa. That's one thing I always look for, where we can get to share perspective where our African leaders can pick up in whatever that they do. So it gets to happen a lot, and it's always a privilege where people can come up to you and see that what you said makes sense, and they would like to see how they can inculcate into their companies, into their communities, and into their personal lives. And then you get to work with them one-on-one on consulting and coaching basis to see how to make that more realistic, and more productive. Yeah.
So His Royal Majesty was pleased.
Yes, I think so.
And now you look like one.
You gave me a contact, so
You look like a king.
We are gradually but steadily moving to the end of this edition of Apex Snapshots on Apex One Radio. We've just negotiated the last pen of this radio journey, which has been reaching you live from the studio of the station situated at the northern belt of Columbus, the chief city of the state of Ohio. We are in the midwestern regions of the United States of America. It's 18 minutes past 8, and we're about to run off.
Yes, we will be drawing the curtains on this specific edition of Apex Snapshot. So for those of you who tuned in, and for the viewer who placed a call, we say thank you. I believe Dr. Joybert was very pleased to have the questions that were coming in.
Definitely.
And for those of our viewers who were out there and listening, commenting as well, we say thank you. We are always here to bring you the juicy information, juicy knowledge, and of course, juicy guests. So I have been blessing Akiko, and it's been a pleasure being here and manning this particular edition with the one and only
Ernest Kanji. Just before we go away, Joybert, you may just be doing a great favor to someone out there.
Yeah.
I would just like you to speak to somebody out there who may be thinking that they've come to the end of the road.
Yeah. Well, life can be very challenging and difficult, but I always encourage people to believe in what I like to call future possibilities, because the truth is that we don't know what will happen tomorrow morning. And I always prefer to believe in what God can do tomorrow morning. And whatever you do, sometimes you feel as if, it's the end of the road. But trust me, if you look deeper, you see that there's always a way out, right? Even if you are owing all the debt in the world right now, trust me, if you can look deeper, you'll find a way that you can create value, monetize that value, and make more money, or just be more relevant in what you do. And I always advise people, no matter what is happening, don't lose your peace and don't lose your mind. If you are going through the most difficult period in your life and you have your mind intact and your heart intact, you will come out of that difficulty. But it gets chaotic when you have lost your mind, you have lost your heart, you can barely come out of that particular challenge. And of course, there's nothing wrong to ask for help. Please ask for help. People get to see asking for help as a sign of weakness. No, asking for help is a sign of maturity. You have recognized that you're human, and you cannot get everything done on your own, and you can reach out to ask for help. And that's why it's important to have a community of people around you. Don't live like an island. Have friends, have family members that you can work with, and always reach out to ask for help when you can. And of course, there will be somebody always to help you. And keep doing your best, and most importantly, put God first place, okay? Because there's nothing that we will do without God, and some of us are where we are because God picked us from certain places.
Put God first.
Put God
Surround
first.
yourself
Very
with the right people. Do not be an island.
Bless, maybe before we go, we would be doing justice to some of the people who were following us by mentioning their names.
Okay.
Special thanks to Belta Fonjong. She was listening live from Cincinnati, just 2 hours away from the studio of Apex One Radio. Belta, thank you so much. Then what to say, thank you for your time, Solange Chair. We appreciate you. Benita was listening from Boya as well.
Tangi.
Of course, yes. And scores of other listeners on apex1radio.com, tuning app, and Radio Garden.
That's amazing. Thank you all for tuning in. We do hope that you join us again, even if it's an impromptu session, just like we had today.
Yes. we actually needed this session today, though it came as an impromptu, but we are happy that it happened. So thank you so much for coming to Apex One Radio, Joybert. It's always a pleasure to have you on this platform. It was even more pleasurable to have you live in the studio today.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. And should in case somebody wants to get my books, you can go on Amazon. I have 6 books on Amazon, and this is the first time I'm announcing it public. My team just published 6 books of my latest books on Amazon, and you can get the latest books on business, strategy, success, money making, and whatever, and most of the books that you see on your screen. And you can grab a copy anywhere in Europe and America. You can order them and you get them as soon as possible. Thank you so much for having me, and looking forward to coming again.
All right. So on my part, and Blessing, we want to say thank you so much. This edition of Apex Snapshot was produced from Valsut in Germany by Maxwell Adil and hosted in the studio by
Blessing Akiko and the very interesting, remarkable, and powerful
Ernest Kanjo. Thanks for always listening to Apex One Radio. To have a fantastic rest of the evening. May God bless you.